Sure, we'll send you just a couple fans. Hey guys, what's up? In today's video, we have to get all of this insane hardware into this PC case. As you see, it's not actually that big. So this is definitely going to be a very interesting build. And if you don't know, in today's video, we're going to be building my new main editing, gaming, workstation, video creation, whatever you want to call it, PC. But real quick, before we do that, I want to say a humongous thanks to all the companies, on the screen now, who sent products for this build. I'll be mentioning throughout the video, when I was sent the product, stuff like that, so I will be mentioning this stuff again, but I just want to say a huge thank to all these companies who did send products. You'll find links to all the products they sent in the description below, but this build would not be possible without these awesome companies. And man, this is going to be some insane, just power. I'm excited. Whew. Haven't had a PC like this, well, ever, because this is going to be the most powerful PC I've ever had. Starting off, we have our motherboard. This is the ARSB 550 something gaming or other. Now, in the motherboard, you could already see that I had a Ryzen 9 3900 XT. That is my 12-core, 24-thread editing CPU of choice, as it's the highest core count, highest clock speed CPU I have. Both those, like, together in one thing, not separate. That is optimized for video editing. Now, technically speaking, I would much prefer to have like a 5900X or 5950X preferably, but I can't afford those, so I've got the 3900 XT, which works well enough, especially since what we're putting around it is going to really help its performance. This is a great motherboard, and as a small side note, it features a 2.5 gig Ethernet port. We're going to install our RAM next, and the RAM we're using is nothing short of freaking amazing. This is 100, oh my god, I can't even hold it, it's so heavy. This is 128 gigabytes of DDR4. It is all insane RGB memory made by Kingston. This is their older HyperX branding. Now the HyperX brand belongs to someone else, so Kingston now makes Kingston Fury. They sent me 64 gigabytes of Kingston Fury to use in my main PC, and that's what we'll be using for half of our memory. 64 gigs of Kingston Fury DDR4. You can find the link to the Kingston Fury DDR4 in the description below. This stuff is pretty awesome. They reached out and they sent this to me, and I'll be combining it with another 64 gigs of their old HyperX memory that I had already to make 128 gigs of RAM. Now, do I need 128 gigs of RAM? Now, that memory sent by Kingston is pretty awesome. In a similar sense to that my RAM is completely overkill and amazing, my storage is nothing short of, well, just absolutely stupidly fast. Sabrent sent over one of their Rocket 4 Plus 2 terabyte PCIe 4.0 NVMe SSDs. This thing is obnoxiously fast, to say the least. Not to mention a 2 terabyte SSD. I reached out to Sabrent because I needed a drive for this build. I was hoping to get like a 2 or 4 terabyte PCIe 3.0 SSD because I know they make great ones. And they're like, you interested in super fast drives? I was like, yes, I am. So they sent over their 2 terabyte Rocket 4 Plus. And this thing is super cool. It comes in this like awesome this. And we get, yes, this massive SSD. Double-sided memory chips on both sides. Don't know if it's QLC or whatever, or how it works, but man, this thing is fast, and it'll definitely get very hot. Sabrent also sent over one of their Rocket NVMe heatsinks. I would be lying if I didn't say this is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in an amazing way. It's freaking massive. Are those heat pipes? And yes, this thing is freaking massive and obnoxious. Now, alright, although this drive does look super sexy, unfortunately, it's gonna get so hot to the point where it will legitimately need this heatsink. Or at least it's recommended. Like I said, Sabrent actually sent this with the drive, because they're like, yeah, this thing gets hot. So, if the company who sent you the drive sends you a heatsink, you know you're gonna frickin' need it. unless you break the drive, in which case you don't need anything because they'll never send you anything ever again. So this thing's gonna be blazing fast, and this is actually going to be my main editing drive. Not my boot drive, not my PC's main drive. It's going to be the drive that I edit off of, that I do all the work off of. I put my 6K footage on it, I edit on it, 2 terabytes will be plenty, could have a couple of videos, raw footage sitting on that. That 6K footage will take up a ton of space. So I'm super glad that I got a 2 terabyte, and thank you so much, Sabrin, for sending that over. I can't wait to test this thing out in the system. Now, for a boot drive, we just have a 970 Evo that I had lying around. But yeah, Samsung, they're not gonna send me anything. So I have not fully looked at this thing yet, but this is the ZZAW something or other, yada yada, micro ATX China case. And yes, I know I've been doing a lot of China case PC builds recently. I'd be lying if I didn't say that some of these Chinese case companies, they make some cool freaking stuff. So in this build, we can have a micro ATX board with micro ATX connectivity in a case that's the size of many ITX cases. Now, the inside of our case is, as you can tell, completely bare. This is really a do-it-yourself, go-off kind of case. And it's so much so like that, oh my god, how do I get this top thing off to get that power supply mount out? Oh no, the power supply just kind of screws into it. Okay. Did not come with instructions. I am going completely by just looking at it. I have no idea what's going on. I do not know how to do this, but what the heck, is this a drive mount on top of it? I haven't even looked at it that much. I opened it one time just to see what I was dealing with, and that's all the information I got before looking at this. So, going completely off the books. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I know that this is a power supply mount, so I've seen them before. Courtesy of the great folks over at Silverstone, we have the SX750. If you need a power supply that is completely overpowered, has features that are obnoxiously insane, and a form factor that either A, shouldn't exist, or B, is SFX, Silverstone has definitely got your back. This is the SX750, an 80 plus platinum, 750 watt, completely stocked and overpowered SFX PSU. Probably even more than I need for this build. I've done almost this exact build with a 600 watt PSU, but if I could, I would like to upgrade my graphics card at some point. It's pretty good, but I definitely need more VRAM for the editing that I do. So this will give me plenty of space to do that. 150 extra watts, it can go a long way. And I haven't even opened this thing up yet. So in the box we get our, nice bag actually, Silverstone. Oh. Attention, the PSU fan will not spin during operation until certain load or temperature is reached. Great, so it's got 0 fan mode. Yeah, this thing will also run very quietly, because if you're not running 600 watts or whatever, the fan's not going to spin. Man, Silverstone has sent me a lot of stuff. This is the 4th power supply they have sent me. And all of them have been either flagship products or extremely insane niche products that I am absolutely baffled I convinced them to send over. Although my FX 500 video got a lot of views and was probably, actually was statistically the most purchased product that I have ever done a video for. Not a sponsor spot or anything, none of this is sponsored, just I did a video for it and it got like, I think it's up to like 27 purchases of that PSU, which is, for me, a lot. And, you know, considering they only sent one, I was like, pretty damn good. But hey, that's fine. And that's only ones I can confirm. So we have a little warning that says, hey, it's not going to spin unless it's under load. 0 fan mode, super awesome. And yeah, an SX750. It's an adorably tiny PSU. Oh, it's got this stuff. I love this, man. I love this too much. I probably shouldn't, but I love these Silverstone power supplies. They're adorable, and SFX is cute as well. So I'm going to haphazardly try to mount that to this weird bracket thing. There appears to maybe be, hold on, is the spacing for this correct? No, it definitely is not. And yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to do that, but it fits, so that's where my drive's gonna mount. There we go. Oh, that's a perfect fit. I love that. Good job on the space constraints. Good job on the cable length. Random Chinese case, and having actual, like, routing for it. And with that, our PSU is routed, mounted, and so is one of our drives. Absolutely perfect. Oh man, that really unbalances the case. I'm gonna go for the motherboard now so that we can put our cables in and route them. So this case has enough room. It's a little different than the other ones I've used recently, where actually we want to go straight in for the motherboard as soon as we can. So our micro ATX board should just really simply just fall in. The trust of any of the companies who sent me any of this stuff that I would lose from losing it anyway. Then again, the view count of this video will most likely lose any trust from any company I've had in the first place, so consider this my last video with free stuff. Could definitely be considered properly mounted. We're having a good time here. I guess we'll work on cables now. So I am slightly limited in the amount of drives I can add, despite having a lot of drives that I would like to add. I'm limited by the fact that, again, we only have 4 SATA ports. For the other 3 drives, besides our 2TB FireCruda, I've got 3 SSDs. A 1TB Kingston KC600. Thank you, Kingston, for providing this amazing drive. They sent it a good while ago. I've had it sitting around. It's been one of the best drives I've used, most consistent speed-wise, and it's 1TB, so it's awesome. So we've got a 1TB SATA SSD. We've got a 2TB WD Blue SSD. This is one of the slower SSDs I've ever had. It's not super amazing, but it's an SSD, and it's great for bulk storage, especially for games, and just putting raw footage on maybe some less important videos or lower speed footage. And of course we have our 1TB 860 QVO. It's a great SSD, pretty middle ground, kind of between these two. And it's just a 1TB I've got sitting around. So this is another 4TB to go with the already installed 5TB for a total of 9TB. 7TB of that being straight SSD. So yeah, 3TB being NVMe. Now for mounting these, it does not seem to be very simple. It seems as though they're making a lot of assumptions about just my ability to just throw things places. I'm just gonna straight up throw some drives in the top of the case. Who needs fans in the top when you got drives in the top? I should probably put drives in the top. Okay, change of plans. I'm throwing drives on the bottom because I want fans on top. Appears to be some mounting for fans on top, so let's do drives in this bottom corner. Can I mount them like this? Yeah, actually I can. It looks kind of epic and seems like it'll work very well, especially for adding more drives in the future. We just got our 3 SATA drives lined up like that, mounted to the bottom of the case. Should be plenty sturdy, and honestly, the one we mounted at the top probably should go down there too, but I think it's absolutely fine to not have it down there. What are the odds that installing my graphics card now leads to no issues? Because I'm gonna do that. Knowing full well that it could cause problems, I'm gonna install my graphics card now. I see no reason not to. I don't think there's any connectors on the bottom that I need to reach. This is my RTX 3070 Ti. It's an okay graphics card, 8 gigs, GDDR6X, you know, 2080 Ti basically in gaming performance, everything. It's an okay card. I would prefer a better one. I don't have a better one for video editing. Why? I don't think I'll be putting any extra fans on the bottom of the case or anything. Which is why I think, wow, that perfectly fits almost. I think I'm just gonna go ahead, oh, gotta take this off, and just install this 3070 Ti now. Welcome back to, for some reason, China has not yet invented the magnetic screw. Oh no, please don't do this to me. All I can do is build out the rest of the PC, and if it just straight up won't fit at the end, just leave it open until I figure something out. Damn, that's really close too. Oh no. Finish up this build. So, if you didn't notice, the case that we're using actually supports a 360mm AIO radiator. And if it supports it, even technically, I'm gonna shove one in. So this is the EVGA CLC 360. I've used this actually in probably a couple of personal builds already. It is just genuinely one of my favorite AIOs. It's got kind of a cool design, pretty simple. The fans it came with are not amazing, but it's just a solid 360mm AIO cooler from Asetek. And I've got my AMD mounting, and technically speaking, the way that this works is you take this, you shove your radiator on the side like that, then this side goes in, and basically, yeah, this is the inside of your case, and we just mount it on our CPU, just like so. a 360mm radiator is really only as good as the 3 120mm fans that you put on it. So, with that in mind, I reached out to Noctua, one of the leading producers of good fans. I said, hey, could I just get a couple fans to use in this build? And they were like, sure, we'll send you just a couple fans. Just a couple fans, they said. Just a couple fans. Now, as this is going to be a very important build, I have actually already thought about which fans I'm going to be using, if I can even find them all. TLDR, I have a ton of Noctua fans to use in builds. Now, the fans that I'm going to go with for today, for our radiator, are Noctua's industrial PPC fans. These are like the Quadro of the fan world. NFF12, 2000 RPM, IP67 rated fans. That means they're pretty, good at resisting like dust and grime buildup and stuff like that. So this is looking like some good fans. So I'm going to be using 3 of these awesome industrial PPC fans that Noctua sent over. Thank you, Noctua, for sending these over, as well as a ton of other fans. If you don't know who Noctua is, they're the company who I guess you could say sexualized the computer fan. Because I mean, this is sexy packaging. Now, inside, pretty simple. We just get our good old-fashioned brown and black, some screws, and our brown and black industrial PPC fan. This, though, is one solid frickin' fan. Holy crap. Oof. This is gonna be nice. Not a huge fan of the brown still, but what are you gonna do? I think they actually sent Chromax fans. I wonder if I could... Great. These should work absolutely perfectly. And they look great, too. So, we're freaking talking. And just like that, our radiator is fully mounted. And our fan cables can be run right there along the side. How are we looking? Still not great. Oh, too far. Hopefully this doesn't break our drive, but that should be fine. And now just our glass, and it's probably a terrible idea to even try this, but let's turn this thing on after that, I think. Our GPU cables are definitely interfering with this glass, but if we just screw it on, lift that off, and accept that this case has terrible tolerance issues, we might be actually able to get a boot going here. First things first. Okay, yes, do not worry about the tail coming out of the back. It's all part of the plan. Can we, before we move to a testing setup, that I still have not set up, can we get... There we go. We got some kind of fucking boot screen. It's trying to launch into some kind of Windows too. Huh.